Welcome back to the Passing Point here on ESPN Radio KC. I'm Scott Trail. I'm with Kirk Elliott. We're in the McCarthy Auto Group studio. Find out more about McCarthy Auto Group at kccars.com. Sizzlin Summer Speedweek kicks off this Friday night at West Texas Raceway in Lubbock, Texas. And we thought, Sizzlin Summer Speedweek, who better to talk to than my broadcasting partner for the last 8 years, the voice of the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour and publicist as well. Bryan Hulbert joins us on the show. How you doing, Bryan?
We're doing peachy. That's what we're doing.
Peachy King, man. That's been a long time since I heard anybody say peachy. Hey, Bryan, I know when you came on board with ASCS, you picked up the phrase and made the phrase Sizzlin Summer Speed Week, and by God, I think that is perfect. I love Sizzlin Summer Speed Week, and this year, lucky enough for me, I'm not going to be at Festival on the Trails this weekend in Gardner, Kansas. Todd and Kirk are going to be out there taking care of the duties for us with McCarthy Auto Group. But I'm going to be down at West Texas Raceway on Friday night and Route 66 Motor Speedway in Amarillo on Saturday night. Those are the first 2 dates of Sizzlin Summer Speed Week.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We kicked off Speed Week there at those two tracks last year, and it was a really, really good event. We had a lot of fun. The tracks were in pretty decent shape. West Texas, they definitely know where the water truck is, and it was a good thing because it was extremely hot, it was extremely windy, and nobody burned tires off. So that ended up being a great deal. And then that was also the side of Jake Buback's first national tour victory, by the way.
Right.
And then going to the second night in Amarillo track, there towards the end really kind of got locked down, and you saw where guys started popping tires, and in a huge crash at the end. It was really kind of a very odd night, but ended up being a really good race. I know the fans had a really good time.
Right.
And Nathan Bixel out at Route 66, Corky Matthews at Lubbock, they really, really support sprint car racing, and they love dirt track racing. So, Nathan was a long time modified driver. I remember him coming over and racing the big modified shows when I was in Las Cruces. And, Corky, he's kind of like a Royal Jones in the sense. He didn't have to do it. He wanted to do it.
Well, if he's like Royal Jones, he's a good man. If I remember right, night number 2, didn't Kyle Bellum win night number 2 down there?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was his second ASCS National Tour win, picking up his first one at Devil's Bowl a couple years before that. And I remember, and it seems like every time we go down to Amarillo, it's pretty windy down there.
I think Amarillo lives in perpetual wind. Well, let's put it this way. If you go into a part of the country and all the trees have a northeasterly lean to them,
right,
that should tell you something.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, Bryan, and again, I wasn't there last year at Lubbock and Amarillo, but it was one of those 2 nights. Didn't Sam get upside down? And that's kind of where he had a little bit of a tough luck there for a couple races, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which track it was now, but you're right. During Speed Week at one point, he did take a tumble. So that brought Aaron Reitzel into the mix, where he was there. And then once we got to Dirt Cup, all bets were off. Sam just said, well, bye, boys.
Right. And so when we wrap up, we have a couple days off. Then we go to Devil's Bowl, one of the mainstays, the track that I've been to the most since I've been out on the Lucas Oil ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. We'll be there on Tuesday night, and then Lawton Speedway Wednesday night, Creek County on Thursday. Let's talk about those 3 tracks real quick, Bryan.
Talk about going from the utterly massive to the utterly small. You've got Devil's Bowl right at a half mile. It's a very odd-shaped half mile. The way they do the banking, there's an elevation change from the front straightaway to the back straightaway, and you really have to hit your marks there. I mean, if you're off by an inch, you just wash up the racetrack. And then you go to Lawton Speedway, which is an extremely flat paperclip quarter mile, a little bigger than a quarter mile. Mm-hmm. Then you go to Creek, which is a semi-banked true quarter mile.
Right.
You could fit Creek in Lawton.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've really got to have everything together. You've got to have everything rolling, and you've really got to have the car balance in order to go from, one extreme to the other like that, and wrap up those 3 races. We take Friday and give everybody a day to travel and rebuild. Then we return to Salina, Kansas, not to be confused with the Salina High Banks in Oklahoma. This is Salina Speedway in Salina, Kansas. And it's been a couple years since we've been up there. And Tommy Hendricks and everybody up there really looking forward to getting back to Salina, Kansas. Every time we've been there, It's been a phenomenal racetrack, and it's been a great race.
Yeah.
And just a point of history, Kevin Swindell got his first national tour win in Kansas at Salina Speedway several years ago.
I remember that. I remember.